Hello, my name is Carter Trout, and for my intern presentation, we're going to be taking a look at the action plan to improve cybersecurity at the company MetaBank. Taking a look at our table of contents here, we want to first introduce the company and then cover the breach and the impact of this, as well as what caused it or the root causes of it. And then we want to take a look at our frameworks we're planning on implementing and our 8-step process on how we're going to implement these frameworks. Introducing the company, MetaBank is an Australian healthcare organization or insurance organization, and healthcare organizations are high value targets due to their PII, which is personal identifiable information, and PHI, which is protected health information. In 2022, they suffered a cybersecurity attack that resulted in a 500 gigabytes of sensitive customer data being exfiltrated over a 2-month-long period. The impact of this breach overall was of course, loss in their information or the data, financial damages, reputational harm, legal consequences, as well as customer trust being lost. So a lot of lost here in this situation, financial wise and business wise. Looking at root causes here, we had a lack of MFA on the VPN itself that was logged into, weak access controls, random third-party credentials was found through malware and tested. So these third-party credentials should not even had access to even try to log into the VPN. Weak monitoring, they were in the system for 2 months, undetected. Insufficient incident response planning, and no employee cybersecurity awareness, as nothing was ever reported. Taking a look at our frameworks planning on implementing, we want to implement either NIST CSF 2.0 or ISO 27001 and 2. We'll take a look at the differences of both and why each focus on areas differently, and how either of these or both could help overall implement HIPAA in a better way or follow HIPAA betterly through our technical safeguard area. First, taking a look at NIST CSF 2.0, they have 6 main functions: identify, which is how we identify our assets; protect, how we're going to protect these assets; detect, detecting when an incident's actually occurring; respond, how do we recur to incidents occurring; and then recover, how we're going to recover, such as backups and such; and then actually has govern as well, which is our cybersecurity strategy and policies. Looking at ISO 27001 and 27002 here, this is a lot of information, but I'm going to break it down and make it really simple. 27001 is our information security management systems, and this is more focused on governance and risk management. And in 27002 is security controls guidance. This is a little bit more technical area, but as you can see, we're going to see, these kind of are similar to NIST in a way, but these actually cost money and they're international based compared to NIST is more American focused, but it's free. So 27001 actually has 6 clauses, but we're only going to focus on 4 here, the ones that apply to us, just to save space on the slide, as well as just keep it simpler. So you got context, organization. This is a threat environment, leadership, establishing policies and such, planning, risk assessment process, and performance evaluation. This is internal audits and security effectiveness. And then ISO 27002, the control domains. We actually have each 4 of the control domains listed here, but certain sections of each are taken out. So we only covering the ones that apply to us. So organizational controls, you got policies; people controls, you got security awareness training and roles and responsibilities; physical controls, this is just secure access. This doesn't apply as much, but we can still implement it here. And then technological controls, this is a big section for us. So access control, which is MFA and least privilege systems; access management; operational security, this is logging and monitoring; network security, this is network segmentation, ensuring that a VPN can't just be accessed; as well as backup and recovery, so data backups. So this is they all kind of cover and work very similar to NIST, but we'll see why each kind of focuses on a different area a little better or a little bit more than others. HIPAA here, we want to take a look at this. It's technically not HIPAA in Australia. It's the Privacy Act of 1988, but HIPAA, I believe, has a little bit better safeguards or a little bit better implementation on what to follow and provides better security when you follow it. So we're going to take a look at that as this a better situation, especially in this situation due to the amount of data that was lost and not that long ago as well. The main goal of HIPAA, protecting sensitive health information, and they follow administrative safeguards, physical safeguards. Both of these don't really apply, but technical safeguards. This is what applies to cybersecurity frameworks, and so we're just going to focus on how we can implement this into MetaBank and how it can maintain HIPAA better. Before we dive into our steps here, we just want to look at our impact on risk management. We want to shift from a reactive to a proactive state so we can be on top of things better. Continuous risk assessments, improved governance and compliance, and integration of security. I start talking a little bit quieter here so my voice doesn't go away. Step one, for our thing, we want to look at risk assessment as well as asset identification. This is identifying critical systems, understanding threat environment, classify what sensitive health information we have, as well as performing continuous risk assessments. This is covered in NIST CSF 2.0 Identify section, and you can see the individual section within that overall process, which is listed in our references at the end. And then for ISO 27001, we want to touch clause 4, which is health, which is threat environment, and clause 6, which is planning. This is perform continuous risk assessments. For step 2, we want to strengthen our access control. This is implementing MFA, enforcing least privilege, or having a zero trust architecture, especially with third party vendors. And then our regular access reviews. This focuses on a NIST protect area, and then in the control domain for 27002, this is access control section. For step 3, we want to improve monitoring and detection. For this, we want to deploy security information event management tools. So this is IPS intrusion prevention and IDS intrusion detection systems, and as well as log analysis and anomaly detections. This is covered in NIST CSF Detect and then ISO 27002 technological area operations security, which is network monitoring and logging and such. For step 4, we cover incident response plan. We want to have a incident response procedures and incident response team, as well as conducting simulations such as a tabletop exercise to ensure that we're staying up to date on what is going on in the threat world. And this is covered in the NIST CSF response section and a lot in the response section, as well as NIST's recover. So there wasn't much of this in ISO. Not too much was focused on it. There was maybe a small section, but it wasn't very broadly considered. Step 5 is going to cover employee training. Both sections cover this. So this is just security awareness programs as well as like phishing simulations to ensure that our employees are up to date on these cyber threats and just made well aware on what is occurring and what they should be looking out for and to report, such as the Metabank situation where nothing was reported. So this covers the NIST CSF Protect section and the ISO 27002 People's Controls, which just covers security awareness training. For step 6, we want to have data protection and encryption. This is encrypting sensitive data such as data at rest and in transit, and as well as having secure backups. This covers NIST CSF's protect section, as well as look here, physical controls, and this follows the HIPAA safeguards technical aspect. For step 7 here, we want to have governance and policy development. Of course, NIST has a whole section on governance, while 27001 also covers governance with a small section in 27002. This is just establishing cyber policies and assigning roles, and as well as having regular audits and ensuring that compliance is being made, so everybody's following the rules like they're supposed to. This is covered in the governance section of NIST. And then clause 5, this is covered a little bit in leadership as far as establishing cyber policies and organizational controls, which is policy based in 27002. For step 8 here, we have the follow-through improvement. We want to continually have regular audits and assessments. This is examples such as like penetration testing within a security audit. That's a good example to basically understand what an audit can do. And then update controls based on threats, as well as continuous compliance monitoring. This is covered in the govern section of NIST, as well as context of organization and performance evaluation, clause 4 and 9. For our conclusion here, basically we just want to cover everything up until this point. So Metabank resulted in a large loss of customer data due to weak access controls and monitoring being weak as well. And so we're going to look at implementing frameworks such as NIST or ISO, NIST CSF 2.0 and ISO 27001 and 2, as well as using these to follow HIPAA. And using these will increase in security and access control, as well as monitoring and data protection. And then also we can ensure that HIPAA safeguards or the Privacy Act is followed in this case. And then there's lots of work needed. This is a lot of information. I didn't even begin to scratch the surface on it. But in the sake of time, I need to be able to just cover what I need to ensure that everything is being properly covered. But this covers just about everything, but there's a lot of issues here and a lot of problems that occurred. And this one incident is just one of the many that could have occurred, and some could have resulted in even worse situations. So we need to make sure we are implementing this as much as possible and as safely as possible. And sometimes even implementing things that really don't matter. It's important that if we take the framework, whichever one we decide, we implement everything that we can from that framework. That's the end of my slideshow presentation. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.